The craft of narrative can really bring out a more interesting evening, and I really strongly feel that audiences need more and more interactivity. They don't want to just sit still.
Narrative does a lot of things. I think it gives people a structure that makes them feel like they're moving forward, so they feel like they're not bored. The whole key is to give the audience freedom to curate their own experience, but really to ideally transform the experience.
The audience are players in the game, so it's about their interaction with whatever it is that you set up.
I think there's nothing like going into an experience and not knowing the rules. And one of the best ways to not know the rules is throw people into a world that's an alien world. If you go see a show at a normal theater, for example, you understand exactly the rules. You're gonna sit down in a chair that's facing a stage. You're not gonna talk to your neighbor. You're gonna sit in the dark. The performer's gonna be in the light. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna applaud, and then you're gonna get up and leave. When you go to my experience, Queen of the Night, I see the people in, they're terrified, but in a wonderful way. Like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. Is this gonna be scary? They don't know what's gonna happen from every moment. It's like when you go to a foreign country, that feeling like everything seems new and suddenly you feel more alive and your senses are more specific. I think that's what I get off on. How do you break people's expectations so that they can be more true to themselves? Because I think everything on some level verges together because we're all just people and we're trying to be touched and moved and have excitement in our lives.
It needs to be authentic. Your audience needs to buy into it. It needs to be organic in some way. You need to lead the people, but you need to respond to your audience. It's a two-way street.
The event in Sao Paulo is very unique. I started talking to the Absolut people and we just started thinking like what would be the most interesting party you could go to. I've always sort of been one of those people like, oh, I'd like to go to a dinner party with these people or something. So we sort of blew it out from there and just tried to bring in people from different time periods and kind of imagine a world where if you could have one place to time travel to, who would you want at that party? And in this case, there's the guest of honor who's Cleopatra and she's missing and nobody knows what happened to her. And so the whole night, that's sort of the main question, where is she? A big inspiration for me was Punch Drunk's Sleep No More, where you can follow the main line or you can go on these side quests and kind of find little gems of narrative. We'll be motivating the guests by giving them missions and they have to talk to each other. We have an actor for each group and they're there to sort of guide the narrative. And we're building disruption among the characters to create tension. The party guests are there for a particular experience, but everything has to be loose enough that they can go do what they want and come back to the narrative and still find it interesting and fun. The biggest challenge about doing something like this live event in Sao Paulo is that you have no control over how that narrative is going to flow.
When you give the audience freedom, amazing and surprising things happen. Using narrative is incredibly important, but not necessarily using it the way a movie uses it or a TV show or a traditional Broadway show. Using it to make the piece and hide it.
It's interesting because it's staged, but the feeling you will get with it is I had a part of making this happen.
Humans should be able to be as fully and as variously human as possible. And I do believe that people should really connect with other people and not be separated by a stage and not do just what other people tell you to do, which is just sit and be quiet. It's good for you to try different things, so it opens your mind about what is possible.